This podcast is about the classification of costs. And so to start off, I would like to explain what revenue is first, which is the incomes or proceeds generated from a firm trading in goods and services, and it is calculated by the formula shown, which is multiplying the volume of goods sold by the average price. This is the primary source of revenue is usually from product sales, but companies usually have more than one source. So moving on to the main topic, which is classification of costs. Well, this is going to be explained based on the level of output. The first one would be the fixed cost. And this is a cost known that it does not vary with output. This is also known as sunk cost. Well, as shown, as output increases or decreases, the cost remains the same. And examples of this would be rent, so basically spaces for your storage spaces or your factories, and salary, because you have to pay people to work for your company. The next thing I would talk about is variable cost, and this is the cost that change according to the quantity or output of business. So as output increases, the cost increases. Examples of this would be hourly wages and manufacturing costs. So if you work more hours, you would basically get paid more, which is basically what variable cost is. And this goes the same with manufacturing costs. The more you make, the more you pay. So this third graph would describe the total cost, which is the addition of fixed costs and variable costs. As shown, the variable costs and total costs are always running in parallel, and that the total cost starting point is always the same where the fixed cost starts. The last one would be marginal cost. So this is basically the cost of an additional unit of output is the cost of the additional inputs needed to produce that output. So this might sound very hard, but it's basically very easy. Marginal cost and average cost can differ greatly. For example, supposedly it costs $1,000 to produce 100 units, and $1,020 to produce 101 units. The average cost per unit is $10, but the marginal cost of the 101st unit is $20. So you can see how marginal cost and average cost differ. So this is the last diagram, and this diagram shows the relationship between direct, indirect, fixed, variable, and semi-variable costs. So as explained before, fixed costs are the costs that do not vary with output, and variable costs are the costs that change according to the quantity or output of a business. But then direct and indirect costs are classified according to their relationship to a specific product, but then they can be both fixed or variable. Well, direct cost is any cost that can be directly allocated to a particular product, and indirect cost is the opposite, which means that any cost that cannot be directly allocated to a product. And examples of indirect costs would be machinery, factory, overhead costs, and salary of executives, because these won't usually cater to a specific product, but maybe a whole range of products or product portfolio. And in terms of fixed and variable costs, they're classified according to the relationship of production levels, but then they can be also direct or indirect. And the last one we haven't talked about is the semi-variable cost, and it contains elements of both fixed and variable costs. And examples of such is electricity and commission.